number 60. That is where we're at right now with Algorand. Hedera not doing so great either, but Algorand has dropped out of the top 60. It is now at number 60 as I record this. And, the markets are going sideways, but we got plenty of news to get to today. So we're going to do all of that on today's Frugal BC. Welcome to everyone who's joining in. And we have had some pretty big live audiences lately. We got Algorand news. We got Ethereum news. Actually got some Chainlink news too. And we're going to be doing something a little bit different with both our Algorand and Hedera segments when we do the charts. First off, instead of Vestige today, we are going to be using Haystack because they got a new web version and it has a pretty nice price charting section. So we're going to be using them since they are a partner with the channel, which is awesome. Always great to see. And Saucer Swap just went through a redesign and they now have a very similar Explorer section. So we now have that for Hedera as well. So now we got that for Algorand and Hedera. And I don't know if you guys saw, we had a live stream on Tuesday. It was a community call with Hedera. You should definitely go back and check that. It had a huge audience toward the end. Really growing the live audience, which is nice to see. I also post videos from those clips. I take clips because I'll tell you, it's a pretty different audience. There's definitely some overlap, but not a ton of overlap. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people that watch the clips that haven't watched the live stream and vice versa. So it's pretty interesting, but we got a lot of stuff to get to with Algorand, with especially some Chainlink. We're actually going to talk about Monad today too. In fact, I probably should put that on there. In fact, I'm going to do that. Just give me a second. I want to put that in my tags because I do actually talk about Monad and Chainlink today. So we will be talking about that. But yeah, very interesting news lately and stuff. And it's just frustrating to see what is happening with crypto in general. I think a lot of people were hoping we would get the Clarity Act signed before the end of the year. Just gonna put that on there. But that didn't happen. So hopefully next year, because 2026, I think, is going to see some political changes, and that may make it very difficult to get crypto legislation passed, which is unfortunate. All right. Chat is very, very quiet today. I don't know where you guys are at, but I hope you tap in soon. And I always like to hear from people. I'm surprised, actually our last chat was pretty quiet early on, but then got very animated toward the end. We had a lot of stuff to respond to. And in the meantime, by the way, you can find me on X as well. We live stream there. We live stream on Kick. So if you prefer to watch there, you can watch on Kick. And also I've been posting shorts to Facebook and Instagram. So you can search Frugal BC on either of those platforms. You can find me there. It'd be nice to have a couple more people on there. Those are pretty tough to grow. And I've heard good things about crypto content on those platforms. Actually can do pretty well. So, we'll probably be posting more there, but yeah, let us know you're here in the chat. Say hi, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. We'll probably remind you of that later on. And yeah, like button is always appreciated. Really helps spread the channel around. I appreciate that. So if you guys want to do that. And we love chats, chats have been quiet. They'll probably pick up. We usually get, we've been hitting that 100 chat cap pretty easily lately. Restream gives you a little shout out when you do so. Anyway, why don't we just start with markets? And I'm going to my favorite coin market cap. So let's head over here and actually let's go to this one. Here we go. If only I could stretch that out a little more, but maybe I can. We can go down just like this. Yeah, Bitcoin actually up a little bit on the 24-hour, which is pretty nice to see. Still at 88.5, and Ethereum still under 3,000. Kind of a surprise BNB sitting at that 850 range. XRP under $2. Everything's just kind of down. It's just been not been fun. Alts have been taking a real bath. Hey, what's up, Ycat? Saying happy Friday, crypto guy. Appreciate that. Appreciate you being here, and you guys can chat too, so make sure to do that. None of you will be as lovely as that chatter, but you can chat anyway. Now we're seeing some stuff like Bitcoin Cash has actually been going up a little bit lately, and I don't really know what's up with that. These are still price levels that are, not fun. Definitely not fun. Cardano just launched midnight not too long ago. I don't really cover too much Cardano news, but I believe that's their privacy coin, and I think they airdropped it to Cardano holders. I have to check my old Cardano wallet. I might have a couple of midnight plinking around in there, or maybe I had to go get it. I don't know. Zcash with a nice little pump up. That's interesting. Monero. We're starting to see some things increasing. VUCA Cinem. I'll just stick with VUCA says mid 2026 bottom of the bear. Well, if that's true, that's a buying opportunity. I really think we're out of the 4-year cycle. I think that's over. It was a nice narrative. I'm not sure if it was ever actually true. It might have just been following broader liquidity cycles, but it definitely looks like the 4-year cycle, I think, is done. I really do. I just think, and I kind of saw that coming a bit. Well, I shouldn't say that. What I saw is less volatility as more institutions got involved. When you just have that much liquidity, they tend to trade things a little tighter, and it tends to kind of level things out. So, but yeah, Zcash and Monero both doing pretty well. Zcash on the 24-hour, Monero on the week. So I think there's been an increased interest in privacy coins and the privacy layer. You're seeing a lot of chains. We're actually going to talk about privacy on Chainlink today in our Chainlink segment. Sui is actually under my buy level. I actually bought, I think $1.50 was my buy level, and I definitely took some profit off of that, but actually heading down below where I would like it. HBAR at about 11 cents, up a little bit on the 24-hour, but not great. And you're seeing a lot in the top 100 is a lot of stable coins. You got Athena USDE, you've got PayPal USD, you got DAI. That's an old one. DAI's been around a long time. Let's see what else is interesting. A lot of stuff just not doing a whole heck of a lot. Yeah, this Canton one is down. This Canton is a new one that's been getting a lot of attention lately. BitTensor, big fall on the 24-hour. That's pretty big. Near is actually below my buy right now. I actually made pretty decent money on Near, and I definitely took profit when it was, what was it, almost $7? It was really soaring for a while there. I should have might have been one I should have cashed out, to be honest. Wow, look at the path that Aster took. Meme Core Pi. You notice we're not getting to, there's Athena. You notice we're not getting Algorand. It's a long way down. ICP took a bath on the week. Got some Pax Gold there. Just looking for anything else that's interesting. Ondo well below 40 cents. Ondo is one of those ones I've been interested in. I haven't made a lot of content on Ondo lately, but I think this is a good project overall. I really think chains that really focus a new crypto project, I think it does well if it really focuses on a specific niche. In the case of Ondo, really focuses on tokenizing real world assets. I hear people get mad when I drink coffee. Someone commented on that. Yeah, there's Midnight. In fact, Midnight actually overtook Algorand. This is am I right? This is a Cardano. Let's read about this a little bit. Yeah, Cardano's, let's read the about here. And it's a little off screen, but I can just read it. Midnight is a new generation of blockchain developed by Charles Hoskinson, co-founder of Ethereum and founder of Cardano. It uses zero-knowledge proof technology to offer utility without compromising data protection or ownership, enabling applications that safeguard user, commercial, and transaction data and metadata. Midnight introduces a novel blockchain architecture to address key privacy limiting designs of existing public blockchains, supporting applications that require a balance between privacy and disclosure. So yeah, this is created by Charles Hoskinson of Cardano. I believe it's a Cardano coin, and it has it has overtaken Algorand in market cap. It's at 58, which is where Algorand was. Algorand bumped down to number 60, sitting at 11.5 cents. And I don't know if I've said this before. I'm actually unwinding my algo position slowly but surely, DCAing out and putting that into other stuff. I just really feel like I'm overbalanced in Algorand compared to other coins, and I don't want to be anymore. So I think a DCA out until I get to a level I'm more comfortable with is a good idea. Meanwhile, Cosmos last bull run was like $34. And I bought a lot of Cosmos, probably like $3. I'm actually probably underwater on my Cosmos, but I've been staking for like 12% for a long time. In fact, I should probably check on that soon. I don't think I've re-upped. Let's see, what else do we got? Say at 11.6. Yeah, Pump Fund dropping a lot. The reason why is there's a huge Pump.Fund lawsuit right now. One of the biggest issues is they believe they were kind of pumping the bigs in terms of ordering. So I didn't read the lawsuit. I usually read them. It's on my list of things to do. I don't usually cover Solana, but I am curious about that. Yeah, just seeing anything else jumping out at me. You know, the Jupiter coin on on Solana pumping up a little bit. And there just isn't a lot else. Yeah, not a lot else interesting on there. There's a new one called Merlin Chain that's popping up in the top 100. Look how far down the graph has gone. This was one that was neck and neck with Algorand for a while. So, you know, it can always remember it can always be worse, right? It can always be worse. Just what's on the top 24-hour? Yeah, Unisub Leo tending to be, I've noticed this one tends to be a market opposite, a contra indicator of the market. So when the market is kind of down, Unisub Leo seems to be pumping up. Zcash behind it, and then Aptos. I've been getting more interested in Aptos lately. I haven't dived in a ton. We might look at some chain spec stats today too, maybe. In fact, maybe we'll incorporate that into each segment that we do. Well, let's see. What else do we got? Let's go. So we're going to go to analytics. No. Is it the screener? Here we go. So this is our new, yeah, we'll do it this way. So this is the Haystack. Haystack is a sponsor partner with the channel, and a big shout out to them. This is the way, if you want to swap and do trading on, you want to do any kind of trading on Algorand, this is the easiest way to do it. It is mobile first, but they just launched their web app. So now you can do it on the web as well. Connect your wallet above. You can't see it on the screen. And we're very happy to have them, as a partner. And now now that they have this screener page, we're gonna start using them instead of Vestige. Now, nothing against Vestige. I think they used to be tiny, then they became Vestige. I think they do a great job at what they're doing. But you know, if our sponsor has this, then frankly, if our partner is going to provide this service, then we're going to use it. Captain Striker in the chat says Aptos is very fast and smooth user experience similar to Sui in architecture. That's cool. Yeah, definitely something I think I want to start looking into a little more. You might be detecting that I'm starting to slightly sour on Algorand, and I am on the coin and on its future value. Not so much on the technology, and some of the stuff that's built on it is wonderful, including, and we're going to go through. So did Akita Inu must have paid to get at the top or something? Oh yeah, you can boost your coin. That's a good idea, actually. So Akita gets on here by nature of having the boost. That's smart. Captain Striker says token price has been hammered though. Yeah, well, so has they've all been hammered at this point. I mean, pretty much everything in my portfolio has been a bloodbath. And so people, I don't know if you know that you can become a channel member and you can get updates on my portfolio and my crypto experiments every Wednesday. Pretty much I've been doing them. I might not do one on Christmas. We'll see. Maybe. Anyway, let's go through. So USDC at the top, followed by TAlgo. Governance X Algo is up there. Go BTC. I mean, okay. But then coming back behind that, Alpha Arcade. We're a big fan of Alpha Arcade. Haystack, which is obviously part of the channel. Look at that, 40% up in the last week. So Haystack having a great run. The Trading Jedi says Algorand is going to make history as the greatest failure due to poor leadership. I got to tell you, I'm not feeling great about it. I'm very concerned that the foundation is running out of money and doesn't seem anywhere near sustainable, which I don't know what happens when they disappear. I mean, the chain will keep running, but like no one's going to be making improvements to it other than it could be a community thing. I mean, the community could. Tiny up a little bit, still, under a fourth of a penny. So I'm not super bullish on Tiny. It's been frustrating. Polka Gold. So I've been actually doing a Polka Gold experiment. Wait, no, I'm not. Sorry, that's Meld Gold. Never mind. Yeah, Polka Gold down a little on the week, up today. Any big outliers? Yeah, so Folks Finance, I made a video about this. It's actually fallen further since I made this video, but Folks has fallen about 70 some percent. That's wild. So let's look at this. Is it going to show us this chart? Yeah. I mean, you can see it popping up and then just petering off, currently sitting at 438. By the way, what a great thing that they made here. I really love the look of this. So yeah, we had this huge pump up. We were at like, gosh, almost $50. It's crazy. And then I've actually been buying in at some of these levels. I did buy up here a little bit, so that wasn't too smart of me, but I actually bought a little bit today just to kind of DCA in. I think it's actually going to be a good platform. Well, let's go back. So you can see my full video on the Folks story. I'm not going to get into all the details. XUSD sitting at 94 cents. Now, this is supposed to be a stable coin. And so I actually unwound. This is something. You see this right here? This is a huge depeg. The Compex people were sweating bullets when this happened. Absolutely. But still, the reason I took it out is this thing has not held to $1. It's just, so the point of this, the point of a stable coin, my experiment was I was invested in a US dollar coin and XUSD pool, and I was testing it because, you know what, if you compare stablecoin with stablecoin, that's usually a pretty good bet. That's like free money, except if the stablecoin doesn't hold, which this one hasn't been. So I actually came out ahead when I cashed it out, but for most of the time it was underwater, which is pretty annoying. Let's see, anyone else standing out? Yeah, like I said, Tiny's up a little bit on the week, but in the midst of like what's been pretty poor performance. Fried Node went way down, but otherwise, yeah, not a lot to talk about really. Except, I got to say Alpha Arcade has been doing really well for me, 31% on the week. And I've got, my alpha bag. My buy-in is about $130 at this point, and it was almost 600 this morning again, so can't complain about that. Captain Striker says Algorand is such a great user experience, but after 5 years, I need to see a change in the board CEO pivot to buy back in. Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. So that's our Algorand, and I kind of like this little ticker at the top. You know what'd be really cool is if I could put this ticker underneath my stream. I wonder if that's possible. I have to think about whether I want to do that, but let's go to, we are going to have, by the way, we're going to have a Saucer Swap segment. We're going to talk about Saucer Swap's new look when we get to it, but I thought this was pretty neat. Let me just adjust this. So this is Saucer Swap's new page, and they have a spot for Hedera. Trading Jedi says Algorand makes me sick. Need John Woods back as CEO. I can't tell you how I know, but I think he'd come back as CEO. I don't think he'd come back in any other role, but I think he would come back as CEO. I do. And they would be very smart to get it. So, yeah, like we said, HBAR sitting at about 11 cents. Not what you'd really want to see. Saucer Swap at 2 cents, and that's up a little bit on the 24-hour. I hope they add a 7-day. That would be awesome. But this looks way better. Way better. HBAR X at 15 cents. HTSW wrapped ETH is around, yeah, well, you know what that is. We're going to skip those. Bonzo up a little bit. Yeah, most of these coins kind of sitting flat. BSL at 1.17% up on the day. Dovu almost 1% up on the day. Karate took a big hit, almost 7% down. That's pretty wild. Yeah, I'm kind of ignoring like, oh, wrap Bitcoin. I mean, it's just the Bitcoin price. Oh, the Steam token is up 5%. That's something. This is ranked by liquidity. A lot of the secondary assets are ranked by liquidity more so than market cap. In fact, they don't even offer a market cap version. HST taking almost 4% down. HSuite up 1.5%. That's pretty nice. Something called Mouth LCX 6.6% up. That's pretty big. Okay, there's a token called JEET. My understanding is that means to like rug out of a project, so to speak. When I said that on X, I got I got suspended, or my tweet was suspended because they said it was apparently a slur against Indian people. I didn't even know that. So I'm not going to say that on the stream because I don't want to get in trouble, but Jam is up 6.3%. Another one I haven't token of. So this one kind of just goes and goes and goes. So, but I thought that was interesting to look at kind of the top ones in liquidity there. And by the way, we got 30 people watching. If you haven't already hit the like button, love it if you would do that. Like I said, we're going to come back here with Saucer Swap when we get to that segment. But yeah, I just wanted to go through those coins, and it's cool that we have a nice looking Explorer to dive into when we go through those segments. VR6 for life says, what's at the bottom? A bottom of what? What do you mean? I don't know what that means. Which reminds me, I really want to switch over my Hedera wallet to this computer so I can maybe start doing some experiments on here a little more easily. But now I got to decide which segment I'm doing first. So, because we've got an Algorand segment, we've got a Hedera segment, and a Chainlink segment. .HBAR hashpack wallet. I just went through whatever's top liquidity, so that's what I went through. Let's give me a second here. Our hashpack wallet. I just went through whatever's. Just want to post that to X top liquidity. So that's what I went through. Excuse me. Yeah, let's go through Algorand first. Let me just set this up because I had some stuff for. Oh yeah, that'll be a good one. CME price index adding HBAR is really positive for HBAR, but in a low key way. Yeah, and you know what? We talked about that. I believe on our Monday, I think it was on our Monday segment, we talked about that. So yeah, definitely for sure. Well, we're gonna start off. Hold on, let me get some coffee. All right, water's back in. Coffee's out, water's in. We're going to start off with our Hedera segment, and then we'll either go to Chainlink or HBAR. But starting off with Algorand. Did I say Hedera? I meant Algorand, sorry. We're going to start off with our Algorand segment, then go to either HBAR or Chainlink. But as I say, like once I'm in the middle of a segment, you know, I'm not going to necessarily respond to chat unless it's relevant to what we're talking about. And then I'll get back to anything non-segment related later on. I think chain code is not open source since we'll have to rely on the Algorand technologies. Yeah, that's a problem. Well, I think it is open source though, isn't it? Because isn't that how Voy was built? But anyway, let's get to this. So one of the first things to talk about on Algorand today is Stacey Warden speaking at the New York Stock Exchange. I think that's a pretty big win for anyone in the Algorand community. Obviously, price is not what we would like it, and we're going to dive into some of that data. But first, let's give a listen to what Stacey had to say. All right. Yeah, I just want to see what you had to say here. It's it's about 4 minutes, so it might take us a little while, but we're going to get through that.
Next guest for the show joins us here at the FinTech TV studios. This is Stacey Warden. She is the CEO of Algorand Foundation, making her debut on Taking Stock, if I'm not mistaken.
Thanks, JD. I'm so happy to be here.
It's really good to have you. Can you first give us a bit of an introduction to your work at Algorand for anyone a bit unfamiliar, and what would you say are among your top priorities these days?
Sure. Algorand is a layer 1 blockchain. It's an OG blockchain. It's been around for a long time, and it's very focused on financial empowerment. And financial empowerment means a couple of different things. First, lightning fast payments. So not like you and I can make quick Venmo payments to each other, but like on rails that you can send anything, anywhere, instantly, right? Like, for example, Hasab Pay does 50,000 humanitarian payments into Afghanistan on Algorand rails. It also means, and it also means like availing yourself of financial products like savings products, investment products, without having to use a bank, right? This is what crypto is all about. It also means having access to the same kinds of things that rich people can do, but to do it at a lower price point. So there's a company called Lofty AI.
One point I'd make here is like pretty much every chain, I shouldn't say every chain, but there's a lot of chains that offer a very similar set of tools. And that's one thing that I think Algorand needs to do a better job distinguishing, like maybe picking a more narrow lane, because I feel like if you make that as your selling point, it's easy for people to say, yeah, but this chain does that and that chain does that. Listen, I think the tech is awesome and I use it all the time, but that is something they're going to have to address.
They let you buy into rental income. So you can buy into real estate, get rental income for as little as $50, right? And this also happens on.
Yeah, I've made several videos about Lofty, by the way, and I've just found it to be not a very good. I think it's one of those things that sounds good in theory, and it just doesn't work that well in reality. Because in reality, it's like you're supposed to. I got into a fight with the founder of Lofty actually. He was saying like basically that you have to spend the same amount of effort that you would owning an actual property. but with obviously a teeny tiny fraction of the downside, unless you're, buying all the tokens. So if you buy like 20 properties, you're doing the work of someone who owns 20 properties, but without the actual, benefit that you would get. By the way, yeah, Algorand needs to narrow the focus and seriously update the PR team. I think that's fair. I do.
Algorand Rails. So, some of these rental properties have 200 investors in one rental property. So you and I, we could never have a big rental income portfolio before. But now because of crypto and tokenization and good Rails, so this is the kind of thing that Algorand is really focused on.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations on all the success. Can I get your perspective on the recent crypto volatility? This is the part of the show. We've been covering it. Obviously, we're well off those Bitcoin highs of 126 a couple months ago. We're back to the 85,000 level. What do you make of the price action?
Super annoying.
Yeah, that's correct.
That is my main takeaway. I sometimes feel like Adam Smith's invisible hand is holding a whip, and it moves a little bit, and then crypto just like is at the tail of that whip. And
Man, she out here blaming Adam Smith now. It's Adam Smith's fault that Algorand's tanking. Man, blaming the old Adam Smith. He's got to come back several centuries from several centuries ago to defend himself. Man, blaming Adam Smith, I tell you.
it just gets rafted around, And crypto is really, it's a high beta macro asset. And so that means it has exposure to big geopolitical events, right? I mean, the biggest trigger for us recently was on October 10th, and when President Trump said he was going to impose 100% tariffs on Chinese goods, right? Think about all the things that you buy from China. Think about the price of those things doubling, right? And so the macro market got scared. Crypto sold off a lot on the...
Bro, inflation's down, though. That's the problem. I mean, listen, you can say what you want about it, but inflation right now, Trueflation has inflation at about 2.5%. Still a touch high compared to, you'd really want it between 1% and 2% typically, but I just don't think that's turned out to be true. I mean, it was a surprise to me. I thought it would be higher, a lot higher, but we'll let her talk. Green Blue says, I thought she did a good job with this interview. Yeah, I don't think she's doing bad. I'm kind of poking fun at the Adam Smith thing a little bit, but yeah. And I don't know what she's saying about inflation. I'm not going to disagree when I disagree, but yeah, why don't we listen to the rest of this thing here?
The 10th, there was some market structure things there where delta neutral hedging market makers kind of couldn't execute on their trades. And so that took away some liquidity out of the market too. So all of these combinations. And then I will tell you, the AI type investor and the crypto type investor, this forward thinking tech innovative investor, they're kind of the same investor, right? So if AI is selling off, crypto selling off, crypto selling off, AI is selling off, it's all a bit, it seems a bit correlated.
How are you viewing the world of quantum investing relative to crypto? Is there a quantum threat to the crypto majors?
Yeah, so there's been some news out about that recently that's got the crypto ecosystem a bit shook up. So first of all, the idea that quantum is here, like they figured it out, but they just can't make it cold enough. So it's turned from a cryptography problem to an engineering problem. And some big voices in cryptography have said it's not 25 to 30 years away, it's like 5 to 10 years away. So crypto is very exercised around that, I would say. The most important thing, though, there is to make sure that your ledger is quantum secure, that the history of the transactions on your chain are quantum secure, right? And so we were founded at Algorand by one of the world's most famous cryptographers, which is not to say really that cryptographers are ever famous.
Sure.
We were founded by the Taylor Swift of cryptographers. No. And so for 5 years now, we have had the history of Algorand be quantum secure.
Bro, she didn't even mention him. Is that odd? I mean, she mentioned who he is, but she didn't say his name. That's interesting. I don't know. Sometimes we're getting interviewed, you feel a little put on the spot and maybe you just forget things, but that seems a little odd to me that to not mention Silvio Macaulay. Like if you're in the encryption world, like, this dude's name, I've seen him speak. Guy's a genius. Absolute, it's only a handful of times in my life where I felt like I was in the presence of a genius. And that definitely was true of Silvio Macaulay, who's been absent, by the way, and I think that's a big problem. But anyway, let's finish this interview.
And so this is something that's really set us apart, and it's very important in crypto because you can't have somebody going in and messing with the order of the transactions.
Sure.
You take it out of my column, like I had 10 Bitcoin, I put it into your column, now you have 10 Bitcoin. I can't do anything about that, right? So this is the most important thing. But moving forward, we have to also make sure that wallets are quantum secure and other technical details are also quantum secure.
Amazing. Well, thank you for being here. Please come back anytime.
Did mention, but actually, well, it's just finished.
Because I feel like I learned so much in the last few minutes, and I need you to continue explaining this stuff.
I'm here
to me,
for you
guys.
anytime you want it.
Stacey Warden, CEO of Algorand Foundation. Thanks a lot.
I'm surprised she didn't mention that Algorand completed its first transaction that was quantum secure. So what she's talking about is the ledger in the past is quantum secure, so you can't go back and change it. Like she said, can't say you got 100 algo and all of a sudden someone else says they got 100 algo now. That's been true for a while, but they just made their first quantum secure transaction like that. I'm really shocked she didn't mention that. But yeah, overall, I agree. Pretty good interview, I think. And, always good to highlight that. Let's see what else we got. Oh, the Algorand Foundation signed onto a letter alongside 125 plus companies and organizations urging Congress to defend the Genius Act as written. Lawful stablecoin rewards are pro-consumer, pro-competition, already permitted by law. Rewriting Genius now would undermine the innovation. Yes, based, absolutely 100% based. And I fully agree. There we go. I fully agree. So what happened, by the way, with this is Green Blue says he stopped before the Merry Christmas. Well, Merry Christmas. There you go. I'd say the Christmas vacation line, but I try not to swear on here. Yeah, they should be pushing the quantum side heavy, but I don't hear it over any platform. It's just odd not to mention it when we're specifically talking about the quantum threat. I mean, that's like a new development for Algorand that she could have shouted out. But anyway, so the history of this, the Genius Act is the banks did not want these stablecoin rewards, the yield. They were mad about there being yield. Why? Because you can get way more yield from a stablecoin than you can getting from your bank. What's your bank going to give you? 0.5%. Ooh, if you're lucky. I know some of these high yield savings accounts might have like 3 to 4%. I think my Wealthfront account does it's been pretty close to 4. It was over 4 for a while, but I mean, we're talking like 6, 7, 8% that you can get on a stable coin. They can't compete with that because they want to borrow your money to make, they're going to make money on it, but they don't want you to make, they want to get it as cheap from you as possible so that they can turn around and make money on it. Well, the Genius Act was sneaky because it didn't allow yield, but it did allow rewards. So ipso facto, kind of giving you yield. And they did not like that. Not one bit. They did not like that. So the banks are like, wait, we're trying to get this rewritten. Well, I agree with the Algorand Foundation. Freaking based. Absolutely. Don't let them do that. What's the big news? Well, you have to tune in. We're getting there. What's the big news? I think I'm just going to give it away now. We're coming to it. It's around HBAR. The HBAR one is coming. We're in Algorand right now. So yeah, absolutely wonderful. I'm glad that they signed on to this letter. Who else signed on to it? Are we going to see it? Oh yeah, there's everything from A16 to the Algorand Foundation to Injective, Kraken, Miston Labs, that's SWE, Wintermute, Union Labs, Stripe is on there. Good for Stripe. PayPal on there. Yeah, so not exactly a small, plus all these like different initiatives and groups and councils and chapters. Good, absolutely outstanding. That's what I want to see. So next, got some new startup challenges from October 7th to December 12th. We ran the first edition of the Algorand Startup Challenges, which saw 220 plus startups join sessions. 75 teams applied to pitch 2 semifinals and a partridge in a pear tree. Sorry, 10 finalists, and I got Christmas on the mind. What can I say? First place was Brain Chain by Merlin Kell. Brain Chain is building a decentralized data marketplace for brain-computer interface data, enabling users to monetize their data while giving AI and BCI companies access to high-quality, real-world assets. So you could monetize your brain, dude. That's pretty awesome. I'll sign up. I can make money off my brain. I already do, but make a little more, right? Your vote is second place. Your vote enables secure, transparent, and walletless voting on Algorand, built for real-world governance across healthcare, universities, and community organizations. And third place is Zytham Labs, which is building a privacy-preserving dark execution layer for cross-chain settlement. That sounds scary. It's probably not, but designed to eliminate MEV front running and order flow leakage. So MEV, that's something that was really controversial on, this is what I think the lawsuit is about, is this front running that is allowed on some of these chains where people can get their transaction ordered faster so they can make more money. It's a real problem in crypto. Compact's got one for orbital lending. Contract Studio got fifth. Embedding regulatory reporting. Castle Lotto. Yeah, there's a bunch of cool stuff on here. We're not going to go through all of them, but I wanted to shout out those top three. I think we covered this before anyway. Sarah from the foundation had shared this. I think BrainChain sounds like a really interesting platform. But anyway, let's move on. Let's see what we got next. Big year for ParaWallet, and I think this is worth highlighting. 2025 is a massive year for ParaWallet. This year, we modernized Para's foundation to be built for banking, finance, payments, and on-chain tools. Shipped major features, including stake portal, asset inbox, universal wallets, Para router and API, and the Para card, which, still waiting for that to come to the US. When is it getting over here? The dollar amounts being spent on Para cards so far, a little underwhelming. I'm gonna be honest, a little underwhelming. But they launched initiatives like the Para spin game, the 1% cash back, and card bonuses. I don't even know about this 1% cash back. It open source repos, hosted community calls, global events, blah blah blah. You can read more, but yeah, kind of interesting. And I think it's just interesting to look back at what Para did over the years. It is the app or the wallet that I'm using on Algorand, and I gotta say it works pretty well overall. There's this thing sometimes where you gotta log out and log back in for it to work. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if it's on the platform side or on theirs, but it can be kind of annoying. But it is a workaround. You just log out and log back in. It's just a little bit annoying, I guess. So, all right, we kind of covered this in our Algorand video, but I just want to highlight this because this is kind of annoying. If you're a fan of Algorand, well, look at this, not on this list. This is most popular blockchain ecosystems in 2025 by Mindshare. Posted by CoinGecko. You see Solana at the top, followed by Base and Ethereum, Sweet in fourth, and BNB in fifth. Nowhere on here. Hedera is even, our good friend Hedera here is on 15, but Algorand nowhere on it. And I think that's a big problem. So if you're interested in Algorand, you should be very, very concerned about that. Before we leave, for all our segments today, I'm going to pull up ChainSpec because I think this is a really cool data layer. I'm going to go to, let's see. Yeah, here's Algorand. Real-time TPS over the last hour has 8.68 transactions. That's not a ton, guys. That's not great. Max TPS at 100 blocks at 5.7. So it's not, we've actually had blocks that were much higher, but this is measuring max TPS over 100 blocks. They've got theoretical TPS at 9,300. I actually think it's supposed to be 10,000, like a lot of them, right? But whatever. Transaction volume in 1 hour, about 31,000 transactions. Something I want to draw your attention to, though. There's the Nakamoto coefficient, which is the measure of decentralization. It's at 12. So you would hope that'd be a little higher up, but also, like, I've heard some questions about these validators at 1,700, stake at 217 million. I wonder where they're getting that. I swear it's more than that. I don't know where they're getting that from. I don't know if I quite buy that, but I think the most, well, here's repos at 171, commits at 38,000, developers 543. And it might be interesting sometime to look at, some comparisons and stuff, but this one has me concerned. Chain revenue at $161 or $167. What does that mean? That's not a lot of money. We can do a little math here. I don't have my calculator, but I can get it, because to me that's a real problem. All right, so let me do a little math here. $167 times 365. Okay, hold on. I think is that hourly? And that's 24 hours. That is not a lot of money. I'll tell you what. So this is a huge problem that Algorand has. It just is not bringing in revenue. In fact, I think we can go to financials. This is by chain revenue. Tron is bringing in almost $1 million a day. Now, I've heard some people say that this has to do with like cartel money and stuff like that. I don't know for sure. I've looked into it a little bit. I've seen some stuff saying that. I don't know if it's true or not. Solana about $500,000. I've heard, again, people like make claims about wash trading and stuff. So, but whatever. It's, revenue's there. Ethereum at almost $500,000. Near's making like 4,200 a day. Here's Hedera, almost 1,000 a day. And then Algorand's not even on the chart. That would be on page 2, I think. You got to go to page 2. Tezos is actually making more per day than Algorand, according to this. The Trading Jedi says, let's go back up to Sean DePore. Says, great fundamentals with Algorand, but if no one is hearing or seeing it on their socials on the daily, it's all going to fall on deaf ears. But then again, the tech could speak for itself. Well, it hasn't, as the problem. It hasn't. We wish it would, but it hasn't. Stacey Warden is a beeping retard. She's effing up massively, says the Trading Jedi. And Sean says, we'll go down as one of the most mismanaged cryptos for PR. It absolutely has been. I mean, let's be honest, I think they've done a better job since Mark has taken over, but it just might be too little too late. Yeah, so that's our Algorand segment today. We got Hedera and Chainlink coming up, so stay tuned for that. Very nice audience we got today again, and our lives have really been growing lately. I remember like 3 or 4 years ago, I used to stream to like 2 people. Now we got 50 some in the audience. We got an audience on X. We got an audience on Kick and YouTube. If you're watching on Kick, hey, leave us a comment there. We'd love to hear from you over there. And we can see comments on X as well. So feel free to weigh in with that. And of course, on YouTube, we always welcome comments. Lots of comments here. And hitting the like button will help share the channel to more people. Looks like you guys are doing that. And I appreciate that because it's going around, which is awesome. Let's see. I think I'm just going to dive right into Hedera, and then we'll finish with Chainlink. So as you know, once I start talking in my segment, and did I miss anybody? Yeah, so Ruben, pay attention now because we're going to get to the big news. Let's just see if I missed anything that was not Algorand. Armando said, buen dia, solo es un comentario en KuCoin, wrap Bitcoin, US dollar coin. Hace días subió 300,000. I speak enough Spanish a little bit, just a comment. I think he's saying just because good morning or good day. Just enough, just a quick comment about KuCoin and Bitcoin hitting the daily above below 300,000. Is that, I think I translated that right. King says, what sites were those metrics on? Those were on Chainspec, which is a new one that I'm using. Boro Sniper says, new viewer just this moment from UK. Welcome from the UK. Good to have you here. Let me grab some water and then we'll start our HBAR segment. Like I say, once I do them, I only respond to chat that's relevant, and then we'll circle back and catch anybody who's not relevant to the segment after the segment's done. Sorry, probably picked up a little bit there. I know people get mad. Okay. All right, so you might be wondering what the big news on HBAR, and anytime that Hedera adds a new governing council member, that's a pretty big deal. This next one is a pretty big get for Hedera, though, and I think the strength of these governing council members is a big reason why Hedera is having so much success with its enterprise clients, which is what we heard in the community call that we just covered on Tuesday. But this is the new governing council member. Not even going to tease you with it, just going to get right into it. So let's go. Yep, and the governing council is GBBC. Now you're wondering what that is. It's the largest leading nonprofit industry association for the blockchain, digital assets, and emerging technology community. As a oh wait, that wasn't even the one I was going to do. Hold on. Sorry about that. This is the one. That one's big too. We're gonna get to that. Sorry, I kind of screwed that up. Actually, let me start over. No, I won't start over. I'll just keep going. You guys can see my screw up. Now this is posted from Generation Infinity, but the HBAR Foundation or the Hedera Foundation and Hedera has also posted. This is official. Repsol, a Fortune Global 500 energy company serving more than 24 million customers across 90 plus countries, has joined the Hedera Council. This is a big deal, guys. The company, that's a Fortune 500 company, one of, several now that Hedera has on its governing council. Pretty big deal if you ask me. The company will advance decentralized digital identity and verifiable credentials across its global energy operations with a focus on high volume, high compliance environments. As a council member, Repsol will participate directly in network governance. Repsol's identity-first strategy targets measurable outcomes across complex global operations with 3 stated objectives. 1 is standardization, build a shared digital identity framework for employees, partners, and suppliers. Automation, enable wallet-to-wallet credential exchange to simplify KYB and KYC processes across markets. You've got integrity, issue verifiable, tamper-resistant credentials to reduce fraud, delays, and manual reconciliation. These systems are designed to align with regulatory frameworks, including GDPR, LDAS2, and the EU Digital Identity Wallet Initiative. That's a handful, huh? Which are shaping how digital identity, privacy, and verification operate across borders. I love Genfinity. I feel like this could be worded in a way that just, smacks people in the face a little more, but, not bad. Repsol joins a Hedera Council composed of global enterprises spanning energy, finance, technology, telecom, and consumer sectors. And this is what I said during my community call live stream on Tuesday. It seems really clear to me that the enterprise really likes seeing these big companies on the Hedera Council. When they see those names on the council, it gives them some confidence that this is like a serious organization that they can partner with. And that's probably why they've been having the enterprise success that they have. Sean says HBAR is so undervalued, it's mind-boggling, to be honest. Absolutely. Undervalued. I don't believe in mispricing, but I do believe in undervalue. I think it's going to be huge going forward. So, Sean Dipor says, I'm actually in Spain now visiting the in-laws for Christmas, but Repsol is a great addition to the energy sector. They are massive in Madrid, especially. Well, thanks for pointing that out. I think that's a great little piece of trivia to add to this. So thanks so much. So that's our big news. And then the thing I was getting to, I actually started reading accidentally, is welcome GBBC as the Hedera Council strategic partner. So we added a council member and a new strategic partner for the council as well. GBBC is the largest leading nonprofit industry association for the blockchain, digital assets, and emerging technology community. As a strategic partner, they strengthen the council's ability to engage governments, enterprises, and industry bodies worldwide. Lots of excitement there. That's fun. Kimchi shares a lot of really good stuff. He's definitely one of my sources. So definitely good to see him in the chat. Let's go to the next item though. Now, this is a pretty big coup here. This is shared from the Hedera Foundation, and Hive Online has migrated its 75,000 plus farmers from Stellar to Hedera, sorry Stellar, to scale payments across the African continent. This is a lot of stuff that we were seeing from Algorand before, so it's interesting to start seeing some of these things from Hedera. Citing the fixed fee structure of the network and the Hedera token service, We Are Hive Online is building a digitized barter economy. Now, interesting, I don't know if you guys know Fame on Algorand, but he was kind of doing, it wasn't barter necessarily, but it was kind of like a marketplace designed to, in Africa, to do kind of a similar thing. In the rural hinterlands of Mozambique, Kenya, and Ghana, a farmer can work a lifetime without ever existing in the eyes of a bank. Now, this is a thing that we take for granted a lot, by the way. You know, we think, well, all of us, you know, if we're in the US or probably Europe or Canada, whatever, you have access to banks. You can go get a bank account unless you've like, you know, really messed things up. But there's a lot of people that just don't, in the rest of the world, that don't have access to banks. Like it's just not a thing. And so crypto provides a way for some of these folks to get banks. You know, it's providing a real service for people, and that's why it's getting used. As they said, they have no formal ID, credit score, or digital footprint. They're economic ghosts because the global finance system sees them as high-risk borrowers, making them practically invisible to financing of any kind, which kind of makes sense, right? Like they don't know who these people are. That's where HiveMind comes in. Hive Online changes this. Did I call it HiveMind? It's Hive. Hive Online changes this by digitizing the community reputation that already exists in the village savings groups. So there's something there they can latch onto. They turn trust into a credit history. They transform the invisible to the investable. For farmers using Hive Online, the platform is a lifeline. It allows them to record crop forecasts and track deliveries, building a digital history that proves they are reliable borrowers. Wonderful. I mean, you just can't argue with that. That's good stuff. Now, I put this in the category of like kind of boring but important, but it's not boring if you need it. It's maybe boring to us because it's not like, you know, a new game or it's not IBM, you know, a new council member or something, but like this stuff like really matters to the world, and it's really shows the promise of crypto, and in this case, especially Hedera. Now, I thought this was kind of interesting, and I'm not going to like, yeah, maybe we'll listen to this in a second here. But HGraph AI data agent now live. Instantly chat with Hedera data in your browser for free using our new data agent. Meet the network explorer that explores for you. So this is like a explorer, but it's a AI prompted that will do on its own. Let's give this a listen, huh?
Hey everybody, Brandon here from HGraph. Let's query some Hedera data with the HGraph data agent. So I'm just going to open it on my phone here.
By the way, I really wish they didn't put sound in these things because it really screws up the stream, but
this is just a web bookmark. So here it is. I'm logged into the data agent with my HGraph account, which is just connected to my Hedera wallet. And basically, you just go to hgraph.ai and you can just talk to the Hedera network after you log in. My favorite thing to ask is, what happened on the network yesterday? So I'm going to go ahead and ask this. It connects with the...
Uh-oh.
It connects with the...
Apparently it doesn't. I don't know what's going on there. We're still live, so, you know, internet's fine, but I don't know why that suddenly stopped working, but yeah, this sounds really interesting. Like I like the idea that you could just ask it questions and get information about the network. You know, whenever I talk about Hedera, it's always so annoying because you can't use general terms like blockchain. It's not technically a blockchain, it's a digital ledger, but I sometimes wish we had a universal word for all of that. Maybe the ledger is a universal word. Green Blue says, Kenny G gonna need some money now. Yeah, I know. Trying to tap into my stream. Well, the nice thing is YouTube lets you go in and like, you know, yank out the audio for that. So So you don't have to like give up your whole stream's revenue for like a minute of songs. But yeah, we definitely have to play around with this. This looks like a lot of fun. It'd be nice to see something like this on Algorand too. And then the last thing I want to point out here is got a new, we just showed it to you. So if you saw at the beginning of the stream, you already saw it, but Saucer Swap just redesigned their whole site. It looks great. You can kind of get a sense of it here. I think they should have done more screens to show it, but let's see if we can see it here. Yeah, I like this because you can go trade. There's what it looks like. I mean, that's a nice looking page. I like that. I do. Here's the sauce token. You get a little chart. You got this little thing on the side here. Very smart. The Explore tab we shared at the beginning of the stream, but you can basically scroll through all the different tokens, which we did. Get a sense of like, you can get the price action. Wow, a lot of these have gone up a lot now. That wasn't the case when we checked earlier. Very interesting. Is crypto pumping right now? Must be, huh? You got your pools. I did notice the loading is a little slow on this compared to like how it was before. I probably don't need that. Close some tabs I don't need. Yeah, so here's some options for some pools you can lend liquidity to in the APR you can get. Like USDC HB. It's a version 2 though. Here's the thing about version 2. If you do the version 2, if the price falls below outside of a certain range, it just stops working, and that's not good. So here's a V1 sauce HBAR one. That's not too bad. Now you got to be careful with some of these because yeah, here's the version 1. It's like 8%. That's still not bad though. I mean, you're going to be making more than just staking HBAR. I'm just saying. So something to think about. Anyway, there's bridge, dashboard, govern, stake, all kinds of good stuff on here. And I think it looks great. I mean, it's a really great UI. You can actually switch back to the old one too, apparently, but I like this one. I like this one for the stream so we can look at the Explore tab, but yeah, good for HBAR. And then the last one I'm going to talk about here is, I thought this post on HBAR and NVIDIA was kind of interesting. NVIDIA just launched Nemotron 3, a brand new family of open AI models designed to help developers build smarter, more efficient AI systems that can work together as a team of AI agents. So like AI that can build AI, that's a little scary, huh? These models come in 3 sizes: nano, super, ultra, letting companies choose the right balance of speed, cost, and reasoning power for their needs. Here's what you got to say about NVIDIA. They're always innovating, always coming up with new stuff. I think they have like one of the biggest revenue per employee of like any company. I believe that was true. I have to look that up to verify it, but I thought I remember reading that. What makes Nemotron 3 special is its open source nature and its hybrid mixture of experts, architecture, which means it can think across long tasks more efficiently and keep more context over the huge amounts of information. That's ideal for complex workflows like software debugging, summarizing large docs, and managing multi-step processes. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So ServiceNow, a big real world partnership is with ServiceNow, a company that automates enterprise workflows, and ServiceNow is a Hedera Council member. In case you're wondering like how that relates. Through this relationship, Nemotron 3 is being integrated in ways that could tie AI workflows with distributed ledger tech. Now, especially the fact that there's going to be AI agents, you could see HBAR being used for. I think this is a huge future use case for Hedera is AI agent payments, and that's gonna what it means is these agents are gonna do things in the world, and that means they're gonna make payments. That has to happen in real time. It has to happen like that. You can't be waiting 2 or 3 days for a bank. That's where Hedera is going to come in. So, absolutely based. I love to see it. This is good stuff. And just one more, of all of the continuing growing great news. Just a pile of great news for Hedera. So, good stuff. That's all we got for our Hedera segment. I'll do the Chainlink one next. I'm gonna take a little break. How's everyone doing out there? Kind of quiet. Sean reports a slight pump across the market today. I was surprised that the market priced in the Japanese rate cut. Yeah, I've been paying attention to that. You know, the yields have been going out, have gone bananas on Japanese bonds. Were they up to like 10% or something? It was really high. I just want to take a quick look at the market because, like, no, pretty well. Yeah, actually things are looking a little bit better, I suppose. Montreux says, in this day, I buy 10,000 algos again. Wow, you're gutsy, man. Well, I mean, it'll probably be up higher than it is now. It's at some point near, so, you know, it's all good. Yeah, nothing too exciting. I thought maybe, what I miss. I can't recap like everything we've talked about, dude. But the good thing is Frugal BC's live streams are available on replays. So once the stream is over, you can go back. I think you can actually rewind too. So that's always fun. Let's see. Last segment is our Chainlink segment. Let me see which one I want to start with. Yeah, so recently, you know, just to give the spiel again, once I start my, I'll run Hubster, that's good. Once I start my segment, I don't respond to chat. That's not relevant to that segment. I'll come back to that afterwards. You know, so right now we're going to talk about Chainlink. If it's Chainlink related, I'll bring it up, yada, yada. So just give me a sec. Very ballsy, my man. Best of luck. I'm out. Check you guys in the next stream. Love the content. Keep it up. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I didn't buy any today, that's for sure. I think we got oh yeah, we do. Okay. Well, a lot of you guys might be very excited about the launch of Monad. It has been dropping lately, but it did get a lot of attention as Coinbase's first ICO that's launching in the new era where that's okay. Now, this is a Chainlink segment, so we're going to be talking about Chainlink, but we have a couple key partnerships between Chainlink and Monad, and I think they're worth looking at. So let's dive into this. All right, the first one we got is Gearbox is now powered by Chainlink live on Monad. So with 175 plus million TVL, Gearbox protocol is now using Chainlink price feeds to power AUSD, Earn AUSD, and Mon markets, including the largest USDC pool on Monad. Let's just take a look at Gearbox protocol here. Institutional grade lending infrastructure for global finance, lend, borrow, or build no-code lending markets with Gearbox permissionless. So that sounds interesting. That's a pretty good amount of TVL, considering I think Algorand's way under that right now. I think it's lower. I haven't looked at it in a while. Oh, I forgot to do the chain spec segment on Hedera, but oh well. That's not the only one. There's also this one, a priori. APR Mon is now a cross-chain token powered exclusively by Chainlink CCIP. A priori is also integrated price feeds to secure its APR and AR Mon markets. Now, I'll tell you what, I don't know a ton about the Monad ecosystem, but actually, was this the one that had to do with? I also want to give an update on the Chainlink Reserve. So today, Chainlink Reserve has accumulated 92,946 link for a total of over 1.2 million link. Can we get a price on that? Is it going to tell us? Yeah, that's about $15 million. Now their link cost basis is 1778, so they're actually underwater right now. But I think this is one of the best ideas. So for those that don't know, Chainlink is basically taking off-chain revenue and putting it on-chain. I think that's really, first off, having off-chain revenue, probably pretty smart to keep this thing like running, you know, to keep the wheels on the bus, so to speak. And the fact that they have revenue is awesome, but then they're bringing that in and putting it on-chain, which is very useful for holders. And then we've been talking a lot about privacy lately. This is yet another move in that direction. Privacy isn't a nice to have. It's a critical it's critical to institution adoption. How Chainlink Confidential Compute is bringing private smart contracts to any blockchain. And they've got a little piece here. Maybe we can read some of it here. So building on years of innovation and engineering, we're announcing Chainlink Confidential Compute, a breakthrough service that unlocks private smart contracts on any blockchain. Privacy shouldn't be something we have to compromise on by making the next generation of smart contracts. We're fixing that. Let's read through these little list of things, because I think this is where it gets interesting. Private transactions. So you can enable on-chain value exchange with confidentiality, concealing key transaction details, so transactions and market positions remain confidential. We got privacy preserving tokenization, RWA, so bringing new types of institutional real-world assets on chain, such as tokenized bonds, private credit pools, and fund allocations without exposing investor information, deal sizes, or pricing terms. Confidential data distribution, monetize and securely distribute your proprietary data on chain, such as benchmark indices, reference rates, and valuations to approved subscribers only in a privacy-preserving manner, while also giving smart contracts the capacity to perform operations without revealing underlying data. That's a run-on sentence if I ever saw one, but it's good stuff all in there. Privacy-preserving cross-chain interoperability, and we also have privacy-preserving identity and compliance. So this sounds like sort of similar when they say compute, especially. It sounds similar to Nillion, which is now where John Allen Woods is working as CTO. Had him on the channel to talk about that, as well as his time at Algorand, but it's powered by the Chainlink runtime environment. I just continue to like what I see from everything I read. I like what I see from Chainlink. So yeah, that'll be something to keep an eye on for sure. And then I want to talk about this piece right here. $100+ million. That's the amount of tokenized U.S. treasuries brought on chain by Open Eden. And Jeremy here from Chainlink is going to talk about, is he from Open Eden? Yeah, the CEO of Open Eden is going to talk about how Chainlink CCIP proof of reserve makes them interoperability and transparent. So let's give this a listen.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Ng. I'm the founder and CEO of Open Eden. Open Eden's vision is to become the Shopify of RWA. And what we mean by that is we will be the enabler for all our partners to develop their own on-chain products. One-stop shop, seamless, turnkey. My background is actually from traditional finance. I spent 20 years as an investment banker. I was running Goldman's derivative business. And 20 years on, decided to move on to crypto, took the call from Winklevoss twins and started Gemini Exchange. 2 years of running that, decided that I want to do something on my own to bridge DeFi with TradFi, and that's where Open Eden is born. We built an end-to-end compliant tokenization platform that includes regulated issuance, tech stack to tokenize, and also distribution channel. And what we envision USDO to do is to integrate deeply into both, not just DeFi, but also into payments. Now, the broader vision is obviously not just to look at Open Eden's USDO, which is obviously our own product, but to enable our partners, whether are you asset managers or other blockchain that want to launch their own stablecoin, or asset owners, they can just come to us, one-stop shop, to provide a full white label, seamless end-to-end turnkey solution to bring your products on chain. So let me start with the uniqueness of USDO. So number one, it is fully regulated. It is issued out of Bermuda, and we're regulated by the Bermuda Monetary Authority. And number two, it is fully backed by tokenized treasuries, including Open Eden's T-bill token, which is fully managed by Bank of New York and custodized by Bank of New York as well. It is also the first tokenized treasury bills to have both Moody's and S&P rating. So are rated AA.
I apologize if I misinterpreted that, but that makes me nervous that he said that the USDO was backed by other cryptocurrencies. Did I miss that? Did I misinterpret that? If I did, I apologize. But that really sounds like that's what he was basically saying. And that makes me a little nervous. Like that was the issue with like the FTX token and with Terra Luna, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Plus
interesting.
by S&P. I think we're very pleased that USDO has.
But they're also, if they're backed by Moody's and S&P, that gives me a little more confidence for sure.
It's already built a strong reputation. If you look at the way that we have scaled, both in DeFi, being adopted across all the different verticals, whether it's lending, borrowing, yield protocols, and obviously DEXs, and also the fact that it is underpinned by asset that's being managed by the world's oldest bank, Bank of New York, their partnership. I think that gives a lot of legitimacy and credibility that basically volume begets volume. And because of that, we're getting more and more inquiries to try to partner with us to use our product, both on the payment side of things or just being a yield generating asset or backing asset for yield generating products that our partners are essentially developing. Chainlink has already built a very strong reputation. And that's why using Chainlink's proof of reserve enables the legitimacy for our users to see what they see on-chain is actually sitting off-chain. And the CCIP part has also been very useful for us because we don't only operate on one chain. In fact, as of today, we've got Ethereum, Base, Solana, BNB, and more to come. It is a lot more efficient that you go through one solution provider that can provide us with the few different things that we need instead of going to different service providers. And I think that efficiency and the scaling, it is very important for us.
I think that's really important to have that interoperability layer. I think a lot of projects, I think every project that wants to be successful is going to have to go cross chain. I just think you have to. That's my opinion. I mean, I really do. So it just seems like that's one thing I've been critical of Algorand on, is it just has not partnered with Chainlink or XLR or any of these interoperability layers. And I think that's so critical. Now, if Chainlink is providing a wormhole solution, but I think partnering with something, I've long thought that Algorand should partner with Chainlink. I'm just going to put that out there. So
SmartCon definitely outperformed my expectation. I walked in and I think the quality of people that are attending, I think that to me is always a very important thing, because coming to events like this, I want to make sure that the people that I'm speaking to, I'm addressing to, are the people that are relevant to my business. And so far, I would say that it has been a great networking session.
Yeah, totally agree. And like I said, I think that's really the big key to, I think interoperability is just, it's not a nice to have. Like, you just got to have it. Chainlink seems to be leading the way in that. So I'm very bullish on Chainlink for that reason. Let's see what else. I thought this was kind of interesting. Chainlink state pricing is purpose-built to bring accurate pricing to DeFi assets with limited CEX liquidity. We're proud to share the Blocksize has been selected as a state pricing provider on the Chainlink network, delivering more accurate, liquidity-informed on-chain prices and making DEX-traded crypto tokenized assets accurately priced for DeFi's next chapter. Yeah, right on. Not much to say about that. Sounds good. Sometimes sometimes I have a lot of commentary on. Sometimes it's just like, yep, awesome. And I think that's it for our Chainlink news. I just kind of like watching this tick up, this Chainlink reserve thing. So yeah, that's our Chainlink segment. Lots of good stuff today to cover. And yeah, too bad you got all this great news. This has been like where we are now as a crypto industry, is like you have all this great news and it just doesn't move the price. It's just the reality. It's like the price moves independent. It used to be back in the day, like you would get some big news would happen on one chain and the price would just like skyrocket. And those days are over. I mean, the last one I can remember is there was this news about BlackRock and Hedera that was kind of misunderstood. Some people said it was like misleading. I don't think it was misleading necessarily, but I think people kind of misinterpreted it. And that was when Hedera shot up to like 18 cents from like 6 or 7 cents. And, I took some profits on that. I'll be honest, I'm going to take profits when it's up. You absolutely gotta. Yeah, so that's where we're at. I think we're in a new phase where crypto is not really like responding to news anymore. I think we're out of the 4-year cycle. I think that's over now. And where we're at instead is, we're following longer term macro trends and liquidity trends. It's very coupled to what's going on with the institutions. You're just not going to see that same volatility probably ever again, and except for like some isolated events. Obviously the Trump coin came out and it pumped up and whatever, but that's when the president creates a coin, people are going to pay attention to that. And by the way, it crashed way down. Some early insiders probably made some pretty good money. Everyone else got wrecked, as it usually happens with meme coins. You just can never get in on them early. So that's just reality. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. I don't know what to tell you. Let's see if there's anything else. I could just go to I think there's a couple of things I saved that were not. Maybe not. Oh, I know what I didn't mention. I felt bad that I didn't mention it, but Fractal Monsters is now live on, or sorry, Fractal TCG is now live on Steam, so you can get Fractal Monsters right there. Number 8 on new, free new and trending, so good for them. 5,000 players, $1,000 in sales. Proof that a small indie teams can still make noise. Team of 3. I don't know if you guys played this game. Like this is on Algorand, and they used to make Fractal Monsters. Then they kind of switched to this TCG. It's very much like it might have some pictures on here. Let's see if they have some photos. Go to the media here. Yeah, so if you played Hearthstone, you probably have a sense of what it looks like. It's a fun game, I played it pre-Steam. I haven't played it on Steam. I'm definitely gonna have to download it on there. And it's good to hear that they're getting some sales. Like I think that's so cool. I tried to do a stream, but I just don't. I'm building my new PC right now, so haven't quite gotten to the point where I've finished it. Hopefully I'm getting some parts for it for Christmas, and that'll be a lot of fun. That'll be great. We can do some live streams and stuff. So that, but I would definitely encourage people to go try this game. It's pretty fun. Whew. Well, guys, we're hitting about an hour and a half, and I appreciate everyone for watching today. I think we had a really fun stream and some nice chats, some good stuff. So thanks so much for everyone tuning in. I love how these streams are growing. Like I said, when I started, they were like, I would do a live stream, I get like 2 people, sometimes 0. Sometimes I'm just talking to like emptiness. So it's cool to have such a big audience now popping in. Looks like the majority of it is on YouTube as well. So thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great day. We won't have a live stream. This is our last live stream before Christmas. So have a good, happy holidays, everyone. Enjoy your Christmas season. I would get away from the crypto charts for a little while, just take a break and enjoy some eggnog and some Christmas presents. And, crypto will be here when you're ready. So